Hey everyone, it's David with Darkroom Zen, and today I've got a video showing you something I'm really excited about, something I've been trying to solve personally for myself with my editing for a long time now. It's been kind of a multi-year process, and I finally found the solution. And I thought it was going to be a hardware solution. I've been trying a lot of devices, but it actually ended up being a software solution, and it's way better than any of the other hardware solutions or combinations I found. So this is called Lightroom Super Keys, and it's a plugin for Adobe Lightroom Classic. What this is a keyboard shortcut system that plugs directly into your editing. And after about 2 minutes of trying it, I knew this was exactly what I needed and what I've been looking for. I tried hardware things like Toolbox. I tried the Logitech Creative MX console combo that has the keys on one pad and a dial and scroll on another. And I've tried controller mapping with Joy-to-Key and custom keyboards. I've tried everything to try to recreate what Lightroom Super Keys does just intuitively and basically default. I've made very few changes to its setup here. So you've got this system here. This is the menu for the speed keys, hotkeys, and action keys. And I'm going to show you just the basic way this works here. So you go into develop mode, and you press the hotkey. By default, Q is exposure. And you see I get this bar down here that shows what my current exposure is. And all I have to do to adjust that is turn the mouse wheel. And you can see I'm getting these real-time adjustments. And it's by 0.05 stops, which is a good granular amount. But you can go quickly and get up and down, a whole stop, a third of stop. You can really dial that in. Then you can go over to your white balance. If you hold 1, you can dial that in. Make it a little warmer. Middle click the mouse wheel is reset, whatever slider you're on. And we can bring in some tint. And then also what I really love is the crop tool. You hold that and you can rotate with your mouse wheel, and it feels super intuitive. And you have this immediate control that works way better than going over here in the angle, and just a tiny little flick of your finger makes the whole thing just go askew. And it's just not fine control at all. But with this, I can dial it in, get my horizon perfectly straight there. Or I can reset my crop if I needed to. Now, you can also do things that Lightroom can't do on its own. And that's with these action keys here. And so you can see here I've got 4x5 crop set to an action key. If I press tilde and 4, it goes straight to that aspect ratio. If you use a lot of different aspect ratios from the default, then you know how frustrating it is that Lightroom can't do that with even presets. You can't save an aspect ratio to a preset or anything else. You can copy it and paste it manually from photo to photo, but with this, I can set a specific, let me reset my crop here. I could set a specific aspect ratio to a hotkey, and that is a big time saver for me personally. I use a lot of 4x5. You can see this image is also in 4x5. And having that hotkey to go from that to that, and then I could just dial in, get my horizon straight again, and just slide it over. It's so much better than having to go up here and manually select this, drop down menu, pick that, go back over here. I'm doing so much more without moving my hands. And having everything with the finger on the scroll wheel and your left hand on the keyboard here, I've got all my controls, shadows, whites, blacks. I can really fine tune my exposure, can bring in some more dynamic range, maybe boost those whites. And then I can go down here to my curves, and you can see how fine tuned this is versus if you've ever used the curve tool in Lightroom, it's also hard to get precise movements. But with this, you can see I'm very light adjustments that are making big impacts on my picture, and I have complete control over it here with the keys I'm pressing in the mouse wheel. Now, another thing I really love, let me find another shot to show this. The way this plugin handles HSL panels. Also, the way this handles full screen. Check this out. I can go into full screen mode, and I can still edit in real time And I have full control over all of my parameters in full screen mode as well. I can warm up my image here. Can bring down these highlights, bring up these shadows, or bring down the shadows, get some more contrast in there. Bring up the blacks or bring them down, more contrast again. And then check this out. The HSL panel. With the H, J, and K keys, you get a color wheel. And the same thing, you just mouse over. If you want to affect the red hue, you mouse over and scroll wheel. And if we want to bring, let's bring the skin tones up here. Bring the orange luminance and brighten the skin tones. And let's bring down some saturation in our skin. And let's warm up the skin tone there. A little more orange in the image. And then bring our overall exposure down. You can see how fast and intuitive that is. Now, this isn't actually how I would edit the skin tones here. That was just for an example there. So we can go back in our history. We'll go back to where we were at the start. And again, this is another image. I would use these crop tool keys to quickly transform my image without having to mess with the drop-down menu and a panel over here. So you can see I did all that with just like 3 key presses and reset my crop, throw it in 4:5, change the orientation and adjust the crop from there, bring it in a little bit. And I'm all hands on here. I'm all on the photo in the center of the screen. I'm not messing with panels on the side and they're not getting in the way. And I'm not looking at those panels on the side. I'm looking at my image. So I feel not only like I have hands-on control over it with the dial and the parameter I'm editing, but I'm just focused more on the photo while I edit it. And for me, that's incredibly powerful and effective. I can also do one-handed editing. I can go, let me find another image here. So I've got my left-hand keys set up for navigation as well. I don't have to use my right hand on the arrow keys. I've got my action key for 1 and 2 to go previous or next. So I can just press 2, and then I can just press 3 to copy previous. And it'll copy the settings from the previous image. I can dial down my exposure a little bit. That looks great. I'll actually throw this in 4:5 as well. Look at that. That's a great shot. And it took 5 seconds to edit that. Now we'll go to the next photo. We'll copy settings. That's pretty perfect as well. I'll bring the crop in a little tighter and up here. Look at that. Took no time to go from that to that. And I did that all with my left hand. The only thing I did on the right hand was bring that in a little. Or if I wanted to bring the exposure up, I could dial that in. Now, you don't have to use a mouse and a scroll wheel. You can also use your arrow keys. And up and down goes by larger increments and left and right goes by smaller increments. So you can still, if you're traveling, I edit on a MacBook mostly, so I can use my arrow keys. Or you can use your touchpad. And you can set that up for very fine control using the 2-finger scroll or 1-finger scroll on your touchpad, the same way you use a mouse wheel. So there's a lot of control you have here. One thing I showed it, but I don't think I touched on it. You can set hotkeys for presets. So I can reset this image. Let's reset this all the way. And I've got my action key plus W to be my wedding preset. So boom, wedding preset applied. Now we'll just warm it up a lot. Get that. Oh, I'll reset it. Sorry. So we will dial in our white balance somewhere around 7,000, I think. I think we're actually pretty warm on this one. Yeah. And then tint we'll go a little more red. Shadow tint calibration. This is another powerful white balance tool. You can see small adjustments here make a big impact on your image. Then we'll add in some contrast on this one. Put that back in 4:5. So there we go. So I did all that without having to touch this panel over here, without having to, look around my presets here. That was just, 20 seconds from scratch. Let's see, go back to our preset, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Five steps, and you saw how quick it was. And you can set up all kinds of other things here. If you don't want to use the hold down a key and then press something else, you can set up direct hotkeys for plus or minus on every parameter. So if you have like a number pad and you want to have like your exposure, your contrast, your temperature, your tint on, top to bottom, you can have the left key on like 7 and 8 could be temperature plus and minus. And then you can just go down the list and set up everything you want there and have specific keys for specific plus or minus on each parameter. And then on the action keys, you could do a lot more. There's also a speed menu that can do masking features. You can have even complicated layers of mask where you could say select background, remove subject, or remove people from the mask, and just have a one-click generation of complicated masks. I haven't even dug into that yet, but that's very powerful as well. I'm also going to set up like my skin softening preset to a hotkey here, so I could just tap that anytime I want to have soft skin, or a highlight. I have my highlight preset for, I'll show you this, spotlight. So this mask is a spotlight mask, and what it does, I'll show you, it is a linear gradient subject only. So I will darken this photo, and then this mask is applying a positive exposure and a little bit of warmth. Or let's see, it's just positive exposure. I used to have warmth as well. I'll show you the reason I did that. And so you can see how the light here is falling off naturally on his face because it's coming from above. So instead of a normal mask where your whole subject gets affected by it. Sorry, I applied that to just that spot. Okay. Instead of a normal mask where your whole subject is affected or not affected, the spotlight mask makes the light fall off like real light. I'll make a new one here. I'll do select subject. We'll make the exposure plus 0.5. And then I'll do my spotlight mask. And to compare those, so here, notice his entire outfit, everything gets increased. And that just kind of looks a little artificial, a little cut out. Whereas this, it's just his face and just his head, and it falls off naturally. So I could set this up in Lightroom Super Keys as a one button press, and it'll apply that with that complicated masking and everything. Or I can just have it make the mask, and then I can go in and adjust the parameters and have it just do the masking part without the actual addition. So if I wanted this to be warmer, I could tap a button, it'll apply that mask, and then I can warm it up from there and fine tune. But yeah, this plugin is just genius in the way it works. This is kind of stuff that should be doable by default in Lightroom, I would think. I would think by this point in this lifespan, Adobe would at least let you customize key bindings, but they don't. So thankfully, the creator of this plugin has stepped in and done this. Now, he has also been kind enough to give me a key to give away for viewers here. So drop a comment below. Let me know, what type of hotkey do you wish Lightroom had that you wish you could have while you're editing? And if I can, I'll tell you exactly how to set that up in Lightroom Super Keys. So like a very common one was, I wish I could have hotkeys for my presets. And well, that's a very powerful feature of Lightroom Super Keys, is having all your presets that you rely on right at your hand, right at your fingertips. So I hope you like the way this works as well. I hope you are as excited about it as I am. For me, I've been having ergonomic issues with editing, with having my hands, on the keyboard, both hands on the keyboard, going through and then moving over to the mouse to do stuff, and then back to the keyboard. And I've just been looking for a better solution for comfort, but also this gives me better control. I have all the tools right at my fingertips that I need while editing. I can do all my white balance, my broad global adjustments. I can get fine and granular with things like the HSL panel. It's just really powerful. It's kind of an all-in-one solution to everything I need Lightroom to be able to do that it can't do by default. And having that hands-on tactile feel and watching your image change in real time instead of watching the sliders and then looking at your image, it's a better way to work. Just flat out, it is better to edit this way. You have much more control and you have a much better connection to your image as you're editing. So try it out. They have a 14-day free trial. It is full access to the entire suite. All the capabilities of the plugin are available to you for 2 weeks trial. They also have a Black Friday sale, I believe. It might still be going on, so check that out. We will give you till Tuesday at noon Eastern. That is December 2nd, I believe. December 2nd, 2025, noon Eastern, so 9 p.m. Pacific. I will draw a winner from the comments below. Again, leave a comment letting me know what type of keyboard shortcut or hotkey feature do you wish Lightroom had. And if possible, I'll let you know how to do that with Lightroom Super Keys. And whether I have an answer for you or not, just leaving a comment about that, it'll get you entered into the drawing. And I'll reach out and I'll need your name and your email address so the creator can activate and give you a key. And then we'll go from there. And hopefully you like this as much as I do, because I'm very excited about this piece of software, this plugin. I've used a lot of plugins over the years for Lightroom, and nothing came close to doing what this does. It's so simple, but so effective. Well, I say simple, but it's actually really powerful and can do a lot of advanced things that I haven't even really sunk my teeth into. And I'm excited about that. I'll show you just real quick here. If you make a new action key, you've got all your presets, you've got shortcuts, you've got Lightroom functions here. You can have a hotkey for auto white balance or specific white balance temperatures like daylight. You can see when you start adding all of this in together, when you could set up a masking set of like 1 to 5 for different types of masks. You can see, look at this, all these things it can do. It's really powerful, but really simple, and it just works. That's the best thing I can say about it, is it just works. So go check it out. It's Lightroom Super Keys again, and you will probably fall in love with it as fast as I did. So check that out, enjoy it, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.